McDonald's looks like the biggest restaurant on earth. It sells about 75 burgers every second from roughly 40,000 locations in over 100 countries. But by the end of this, you'll know what it really is. Take a guess in the comments before I tell you. Here's the story everyone believes. McDonald's is a burger company, the best in the world at it. You know the machine, the golden arches, the fries that taste identical in Tokyo and Texas, the Happy Meal that hooked you before you could read. The story goes like this. McDonald's figured out fast food. It nailed the assembly line. It squeezed the supply chain until a burger costs pennies, and it sells so many of those burgers that the pennies pile into billions. Cheap food, sold fast, at massive scale. That's the costume. A burger empire that wins on volume. And honestly, it looks airtight. McDonald's pulls in roughly $26 billion in revenue a year. It serves about 65 million people a day. That's more than the entire population of France, eating there every single day. So of course it's a burger business. What else would it be? But follow the margin. Because when you actually open McDonald's books, the burger story starts to fall apart. Start with a simple question. How many of those 40,000 restaurants does McDonald's actually own? The answer is about 5%. Roughly 95% of McDonald's locations are franchises, owned by someone else, run by someone else, that someone else buys the beef, hires the teenagers, mops the floor at midnight, they take the risk, and they keep the burger profits. So the company you think of as a burger giant barely flips burgers at all. Other people do that. McDonald's just collects. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Watch what it collects. A franchisee pays McDonald's a royalty. It's about 4% of every dollar of sales, forever. They pay an upfront franchise fee of around $45,000 just to get in the door. But the royalty isn't the big one, not even close. Because before you can sell a single McDonald's burger, you need a McDonald's building, and you don't get to pick where. McDonald's picks. McDonald's finds the corner. McDonald's buys or leases the land. And then McDonald's rents that building right back to you. So the franchisee pays rent to McDonald's every month for decades. And that rent isn't cheap and it isn't flat. It's often set as a percentage of the restaurant's sales. So the better your location does, the more McDonald's makes as your landlord. Sell more burgers, pay more rent. Heads they win, tails they win. Let me show you what that adds up to. McDonald's collects about $26 billion a year. But look at how it splits. The company-owned restaurants bring in roughly $10 billion of that in sales, and running restaurants is brutal. Food, wages, waste. After all the costs of actually cooking, those company stores throw off only a thin slice of profit. Now, look at the franchise side. The money from rent and royalties is around $15 billion a year. Here's the part they don't advertise. That franchise money is almost pure profit. The margin on it runs somewhere around 80%. Read that again. The burgers are the low-margin business. The real estate is the high-margin business. So which one do you think is holding this company up? It gets better. Look at what McDonald's actually owns on paper. The company's property and buildings are valued at roughly $40 billion. That's one of the largest commercial real estate portfolios on the planet, bigger than most companies whose entire job is real estate. Think about that. A burger chain is sitting on $40 billion of dirt and buildings on the busiest corners in the world. There's a famous line inside the company. A former CFO reportedly put it about as bluntly as it gets. He said McDonald's isn't in the burger business, it's in the real estate business. The burgers just pay the rent. He wasn't joking. He was reading the balance sheet. Because think about the genius of it. A normal landlord takes a risk. They put up a building and pray a tenant shows up who can pay. McDonald's flipped that. The tenant doesn't just show up. The tenant pays $45,000 for the privilege of showing up. The tenant then spends their own money renovating the property to McDonald's exact specs. The tenant runs the business, takes the losses in a bad month, and still owes rent no matter what. McDonald's gets a tenant who is contractually obsessed with driving traffic to McDonald's land. Because every burger that kid sells makes the rent check bigger. The franchisee thinks they bought a business. What they really did is become the operator of McDonald's real estate. They took on the labor and the risk. McDonald's kept the land and the leverage, and this wasn't an accident someone stumbled into. This was the plan. Back in the 1950s, a man named Harry Sonneborn told founder Ray Kroc a hard truth. Kroc was obsessed with 15-cent hamburgers, and the burger margins were too thin to build an empire on. Sonneborn's fix was to make money on the property under the restaurants, not the food inside them. They set up a real estate company to buy the land and lease it to franchisees at a markup. That structure, not the special sauce, is what turned a regional burger stand into a global machine. The food gets the commercials. The real estate gets the profit. So when you drive past those golden arches, stop seeing a kitchen. Start seeing a landlord with a drive-through attached, a property empire that happens to sell you fries so the tenants can make rent. The burger isn't the product. The burger is the tenant's problem. The corner it sits on is the asset. And that asset just quietly gets more valuable every year, paid down by someone else's labor. That's the whole trick. Everyone's watching the tray, nobody's watching the deed. So here's the reveal. McDonald's is not a fast food company that owns some real estate. It's a real estate empire pretending to be a burger chain. Next time, we're pulling the costume off the company that convinced you owning nothing was cool, how IKEA actually makes its money, and why the maze is the point. The story's always in the margin.